Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fightday Fanboy. If you enjoy the show, do us a favour, like, subscribe, do whatever you can to help us dominate these algorithms, alright? Alright, thanks guys, enjoy the show.
Just wanted. We're on. Welcome to another episode. Alex Kelly and the bad guy. I'll take it from here, Alex.
Fightday Fanboy episode 4. Episode 4. Fightday Fanboy episode 4, everybody. I'm here with Peter Walsh. I've heard there's 2 bad guys in the world. Siri told me today. One's located in Westland, Oregon. One's located in the sunshine state of Queensland, Brisbane, Australia. There he is.
Bald Hills.
Peter Walsh.
Bald Hills. The Bald Hills of Brisbane. The hood, a.k.a.
It's more like Balding Hills. That's why you got your hoodie on.
I'll tell you, man, yeah, it is rough out here. The other day I was walking through the park and just in plain sight, I saw a guy litter. Threw his empty sandwich bag on the ground. I had to pick it up and take it to the bin. Fucking rough, man.
I'm just glad
Is that a jail sign?
Yeah, it's a fucking jail thing. He's like, it was tough growing up in Western Oregon. That promo, man. He's like, it was tough growing up in Western Oregon. I had next door neighbors, twin daughters. They had to share the Mercedes. They didn't get to drive that all by themselves.
I was walking down the street and I saw a guy litter. Could you believe it? Just in a park. Didn't even care. Didn't even look over his shoulder. Just blatantly littered.
Just on the road.
Okay.
Jaywalking.
Shout out to old Chael. Shout out to all the boys competing in Movember.
Oh, yeah. It's looking fresh, man.
Thanks, brother.
What are we, 11 days in now, right?
11 days in. Look at this filthy bastard.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's good. Nah, I already had it before, but I just did when November started. I did the whole shave and just left that. And now it looks like I'm just killing it at this puberty game.
With Movember, is that a global charity or is that just in Australia? I'm pretty sure it's an Australian thing, right?
I think it's an Australian thing.
Yeah.
And it ranges from, I guess, men's mental health and testicular cancer, isn't it?
Yeah, so mental health, prostate cancer, testicular cancer. But yeah, no, I just wasn't sure if anybody's watching this globally. So we've got some random viewer from India or something. Just fun. Welcome back to Fightday Fanboy.
Let's go.
Movember, you can donate at aumovember.com. Really great cause. Good stuff for Australia. It's been a bit of an Australian staple. I think Volkanovski's doing it at the moment too. He's been growing out a fat mustache at the moment.
Yeah, nice.
Which is hard for a Macedonian.
Hard for a Wollongong Macedonian.
It's hard for people on Windang Island. Yeah, so massive card on the weekend again. We did miss one last week. We produced an episode, but we didn't actually put out the episode. It was a bit. That one's probably going to stay in the halls of shame forever. So obviously we haven't talked much about Bryce Mitchell, but I want to get into this this week in particular. So obviously we had Glover Teixeira taking on Thiago Santos in a fight where actually, I'll admit it, the episode didn't air, but I did say that I thought Thiago Santos would get it done, and he almost got it done, but then it was all downhill from there. What did you think of that, man?
Yeah, look, I think the fight was incredible. It was an incredible fight to watch, and hats off to Glover. I fucking killed it. He's finished both those guys now. He's finished Thiago Santos and he's finished Anthony Smith in spectacular fashions. Hats off to him. What is he, 43? He's fucking killing it, in my opinion.
41.
41. In my opinion, in my opinion, you compare him to how John Jones has fought those same two opponents. He's looking good. He's looking like he should get the next contender shot and be the number one contender. I hope he does get the shot because, I mean, time's really ticking for him.
Is he going to
He
get the
doesn't
shot?
have that much time left. Well, they said he's the number one contender. They announced it, but, because there's so much movement happening now in light heavyweight, especially with Adesanya coming up. Is Adesanya going to be ready for the next shot? Or, John Jones is gone. He's out of the picture. You got Blachowicz there. The fight I would love to see next is Glover and Blachowicz. I think Adesanya might need some time to, bulk up?
Yeah, to get rid of that sag in his tits.
But as far as I know, I don't think he's going to bulk up. So, I don't know. I hope he gets a shot.
I mean, he doesn't need to bulk up, man. It's 205. He can, I suppose, he probably would be better off serviced. It'd be a service to himself if he bulked up a bit, but he doesn't really need to that much. I don't know if they're going to be able to, dude. I don't think they're going to be able to fit it in. I think Glover's going to get stitched up. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to move straight to Adesanya, move it along because Adesanya's he's still chasing that unicorn named John Jones, and I think they want to get that further along into fruition. But what is an interesting take is, could you imagine if they decided to say fuck it, they offered Jones massive money. Jones comes down and fights Adesanya as like a light heavyweight contender fight, while Glover and Jan actually fight for the belt.
That could work. That could most certainly work. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just have to play this one out and see. We'll talk about that later, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's the dollar signs versus the rankings. And it's like, how long do we chase the dollar signs and delegitimize the rankings to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And to your point,
and as of the rankings, I believe Glover is the number one contender.
I know.
No doubt about it. Now he's finished both the top two contenders, so it puts him as number one behind Blachowicz.
It's kind of amazing because what you said before with he doesn't have much time left. It doesn't even seem like it. It seems like he's looking incredible. Fight of his career.
He's looking incredible in that fight. So yeah, obviously we all saw it. Santos hit him with some big shots early on in the first couple of minutes, and he just took him like a slap in the face. Just just took them, just ate them, and just got the takedown. And just it was after about in my opinion, after about 3 minutes of the first round, it was just all Glover from there on in. And it was the same with Anthony Smith.
Thiago Santos is a powerhouse, and they're massive shots. You know what I mean? The thing is like, how the hell is it possible to get a better chin when you get older? I mean, this is kind of like, people said Glover's chin was done when he got knocked out by Rumble Johnson in 12 seconds. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's like,
he's a different species of human, isn't he?
He's crazy. He's just a grinder, man. He just found a way to get down there and just slug it out, which is kind of funny. I think that's fate, man. It just, the fact that there's a possibility that Glover could just be on top of Adesanya, just fucking go boom, boom, boom. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah, locking him up. Then it could happen. Glover's been so impressive in his last two fights. I can't wait to see him fight again. He's interesting. He's great to watch, and someone like Adesanya, he'll bring the fight to him.
He's got that Olynyk feel, eh? He just sort of
yeah. He's either gonna kill or be killed. That's the thing with Olynyk, is you'll watch Olynyk fight, and it's always an interesting fight and somewhat of a grappling match, or he gets knocked out in 30 seconds. It's the same kind of thing with Glover, you know what I mean? Glover fights Blachowicz. It's either going to end, I think it could either end two ways. Blachowicz is just going to fucking hit him with a bomb 15 seconds in and just end his life, put him on the moon. Or he's going to grind down Blachowicz and do a similar outcome, beat him in the later rounds.
Well, I think Blachowicz is probably going to be able to get it done, but, we'll tackle that when it comes to it. But, so another thing I wanted to talk to you about is the
Bryce Mitchell.
Well, yeah, okay. We'll talk about Bryce Mitchell for a bit. So I know we covered it on the last fucking podcast, which will probably come out as a bonus episode in about 5 years. But Bryce
What an
Mitchell,
incredible dude.
Oh, dude, he's nuts. He's nuts.
What an incredible dude.
There's people that try to. It's probably good that I get a second take on this because I've thought more about it. But there's people that try to actually be a star and try to do all that and try and talk the talk, walk the walk. But this guy is incredible just in how genuine he is. If you want to hear, he's got a genuine X Factor quality, and he's also got ridiculous, like that grappling game. It showed me that, it wasn't just all that. Like, yeah, he played with Charles Rosa, who's a legit fucking grappler as well. But with Andre Philly, a guy who's, up there in sort of like that division, just a nuts performance, man. But it just begs the question how, while there was some resistance there that we didn't see from the Rosa fight, and I start to question what's it going to be like when it moves up in to the higher parts of the division. Like,
he clearly showed in that fight that he can fight with all the guys. And I questioned his striking going into that fight because Andre Philly is a great striker. He's a phenomenal. He's a ranked opponent. He's nobody's fool in that weight class, and he was striking with him. Not saying he was getting the better of the exchanges always, but he was certainly striking with the best of the best, and not doing too bad. And then taking him to the ground, and Andre Philly's very hard to keep down, and he was, getting back up, but he kept grinding, and his cardio was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And he did it. He did eat some big shots. He's great all round.
Yeah, he
going
is.
into before that, watching his last fight, we questioned it. Is he just a grappler? Is he just, the Damian Maia of the division? I'm not saying Damian Maia's not bad at striking, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, that's.
But he showed himself, in my opinion, to be a very complete fighter.
When you're that
who
good
is just a savage on the ground.
Yeah, when you're that good at one thing, you got to stick to that. You got to be a specialist. You got to play to your strengths. And now with him, so he broke his hand in that fight as well. So he's got a few months, but after that, he's got a pretty clear path in terms of training to actually have a bit of a break and get better, real better. So that's why I'm excited to see a reinvention of Bryce Mitchell. Not even a reinvention that he has to reinvent much, but just a more complete when he comes back. He's just going to keep getting better. He's younger.
He's getting better every fight. Yeah.
And hopefully, because now, so Joe Biden just got elected president, right? President-elect.
Is that done?
I didn't want to, apparently, Trump's still got to try and overturn it in the Supreme Court, but he said that the first rule that he wanted to put into effect was a mandatory masks for the whole country. So if that's the case, Bryce Mitchell's going to be pretty fucking pissed. I think Joe Biden's going to end up in a twister attempt pretty soon.
Yeah, fuck. Fucking poor Biden.
What did you think of the rant, the Bryce Mitchell rant?
Loved it, man. Loved it. Like we sort of said on the last podcast, I don't, it's a UFC platform. I don't think it's ever really going to get anywhere that is going to make any sort of noise. But it was just cool to see a young dude who's real, who's organic, who's not, playing, the worker game. He's just been in there. He's got his chance, and I almost found it cute in a way. He said what his passions were, what his beliefs were, and to credit the man, I believe he's right. And the way he said it was really well said. He didn't, fuck it up, and he just said what he wanted to believe, and he even backed it up at the end of it by saying, I'm saying this because I'll never forgive myself for saying this. I've been given this platform in front of media to say this. I'm going to say it. I know I'm going to get a lot of people falling back on me saying, oh, you shouldn't wear masks and blah. You should wear masks, blah, blah. He's like, I don't care. This is my opinion and I'm going to use it because I can say what I want. And I just thought that was really admirable.
It's great, man. It's
You know?
great for any sort of fighter to do that and just come off unscripted. It's going to pay dividends. You know what I mean? Like, you see,
Yeah.
even with Woodley, even though like all due respect, just those canned responses, and obviously with if you look at all the political, if you look at all the people trying to make a political statement is around the world, necessarily, there's always seems like there's some sort of, for the most part, hesitation because someone's backed by a manager or a media conglomerate or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Bryce
And
Mitchell
so much influence.
Bryce Mitchell clearly doesn't give a fuck about that, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just gonna make his star shine brighter in terms of like just being a real ass dude. And
Yeah, 100%.
the UFC is the base where you sort of can just fucking say there's not that many restrictions on it. You know what I mean? That's the beautiful thing
Yeah.
about the sport. In the
I
NFL,
think you should just say for anyone watching this, this was in the post-fight press conference that Bryce Mitchell gave his opinion on the law with masks. So if you can easily find that on YouTube. It's just the UFC fight night, whatever number it was, post-fight press conference, and he had his little spill for a few minutes, which was really cool.
he's a beast, man, fucking
Yeah,
beast. But
love that dude. Can't wait to see him become a champion.
well, it's definitely likely. He's not in my top 5 list of people who will be crowned in 2021. So
Yeah, I don't think it's 21. I think it's more like 22. But
22.
he's still a young fish in a big pool.
That's the good thing about it is like with these guys now is these unranked talents come out of nowhere, and it's like we're watching these guys as like co-main event spots because they just immediately start getting noise. You know what I mean? Immediately start
Yeah.
getting noise, and that's the cool thing about him, O'Malley, all the sort of the younger crew of people. You know, they're gonna be around for a while. Even Cheeto to an extent.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so
Cheeto.
Cheeto. Moving. So
Cheeto.
he's fighting Jose Aldo.
Yeah, God.
So
God damn it.
where do
For
you?
anyone that knows that fight, go and have a look at the odds right now. The odds makers, I believe, have fucked that one up.
They have fucked that one up big time.
We've previously discussed this, and I'm not one to. I am a betting man. I'm not one to put huge money on one fight, but that fight, I'd be leaning to. I might put some huge money on Aldo to win that fight.
I don't. Yeah, I
Just the
really.
odds.
He might just come and shock the world. Like he's a great fighter. He's been around. He's getting there. He's an up and comer as well. But
Yeah.
the thing is like, yeah, there's not that much excuse to sell Jose Aldo short because he got pumped by the best in the world in his division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he's only fighting the best in the world.
Exactly.
Cheeto Vera came into, Sean O'Malley was meant to win that fight. I'm not discrediting Cheeto, but, Sean O'Malley's foot did collapse and it did sort of shorten the fight. Still Cheeto Vera won that fight fair and square. It's the fight game. Injuries happen. But, I would honestly say if they had a rematch that Sean O'Malley would still come in as a favorite again.
Yeah, I agree.
And then for him to get a fight against the best of all time, remarkably probably one of the best featherweights to ever walk the planet, and be he's not a favorite, but they're quite close money. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. And you know who also is close money?
And Jose Aldo's looking good too. He's not looking like he's deteriorating. He's lost his last few, but he's fighting fucking, Peter Yan.
No, I know. I know. He's fucking the champ. He's the champ. He fought the champ.
Marlon Vera, like he's fighting,
He hung with the champ as well. That's the thing. That's the difference. Is like, and all that punishment that he took. Imagine Cheeto. If Cheeto's going to get him down, it's not going to be an easy finish. It's not going to be an easy night for him.
Yeah, 100%.
Hopefully, if he does win, hopefully the ref stops it a bit sooner. But we'll see. But
moving forward, just put your money on Aldo. Just fucking
I know.
Don't blame me if you lose, but you'll probably win.
Another person who's actually offering great returns, and I'll set the stage for this one. But moving on to this weekend's card, obviously we had a fight. We literally had a fight which was probably going to shape lightweight to have like another big contender in it if Islam Makhachev was able to get through RDA returning to lightweight. which is sort of interesting for him to go over his little run at welterweight and then come back down and try and hang with the lightweight guys again, which is arguably a more stacked division. But so Islam Makhachev was coming in 18-1, looking fresh, looking real good, being again the money in that fight, even that was sort of tripped me out a bit. But nevertheless, Islam Makhachev is now out for undisclosed reasons. I don't know, undisclosed reasons, and it always gives me a bit of a weird vibe when everyone pulls out for some undisclosed reason. I hope it's not anything real serious, but now Paul Felder's in, and Paul Felder's come in with the late stage money, which means like the late notice money.
I haven't checked the odds. Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul Felder, obviously, I would say, regardless of him. So Paul Felder, they're betting on the fact that he's coming in late notice because RDA is a pretty clear favorite in this one, which is quite ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't understand. Sure, RDA is a former champ, all of that. Paul Felder actually said this works perfectly for him because Paul Felder was actually training for a triathlon. So he was already in the 170s anyway. So he just needs to do a bit of water manipulation and come back down. So he was just like, yeah, I'm already in shape because I was training for the triathlon. I'll come back down and I'll fight RDA. Now with that one, Paul Felder, I'm just going to check the odds here, but I believe he was at about 230, which to me is, I believe Paul Felder will get this done.
Yeah, okay.
To me, it just seems like Paul Felder's had tougher matchups. RDA is coming off the back of 2 losses, even though they're decisions.
Yeah. Was it a split decision with Hooker? That Hooker won against Felder? Because it was a very close fight.
Yeah, it wasn't split. I'm pretty sure it was unanimous. Maybe it was split. No, actually, maybe it was split.
I'm not sure it was. Yeah, I think it was split.
I
know. That was a very close fight. It could have gone either way. And he's then again with Edson Barboza. He beat Barboza, didn't he? Yeah. So he's only lost against Hooker. Yeah, he's been fighting. He's fighting some good fights as of late.
Yeah, he's looking real good, man. And he's keeping it up as well. And
we know Dos Anjos is fucking always good,
He is, but losing his last 2. I know they were both unanimous decisions, but still, in my opinion, I'd have to go with.
It's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah, and RDA is changing divisions as well. I know that's not a huge thing. Obviously, he's coming back in with another career change. I just think how many more until it starts sort of to be going on the decline. And Paul Felder, if you're training, it works both ways because if you're training to fight Islam Makhachev and then you get Paul Felder, it's a whole different experience. You're going to come in for a war. Islam Makhachev would have been a lot of anti-wrestling. This is a fucking a war. Now RDA's going to go through a war.
At $2.30, I tend to agree. I'd be putting my money on Felder. I think if it was even money, if they were $1.90 or whatever even money is, I'd probably lean towards RDA, maybe. But it's fucking nothing in it to me. Yeah. I can't really pick that fight. I mean, I can see it going both ways. I can see Felder knocking him out.
Yeah, me too.
I can see Felder losing a decision. You know what I mean? I could see a lot of different things. I could see Felder getting maybe subbed, maybe.
Yeah. It's a fucking impossible fight to pick.
Yeah. But yeah, $2.30. I tend to agree with you. I don't think I probably, if I was to put my life savings on it, I'd probably go with RDA.
Okay. Why's that?
Maybe. I'm just saying if it was a choice, if it was someone was like a choice, but it can just go either way, that fight. I can't. I would never bet a case of beer on it with you, Alex.
I feel either, man. I think it's too close, but I feel Paul Felder's fight style.
This whole late money thing. It's to me, it's nothing. Do you mean late money that because he's taken the fight at late notice, he's going to be more of an underdog?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Because at the end of the day, RDA's also hasn't been preparing for him.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So that there's disadvantages for both.
Well, there's fighters that are game plan fighters that come in with a game plan to do it, and then there's
For a
fighters
particular
like fucking
opponent.
Paul Felder who are just all round phenomenal, and they can just
And they just fight.
anyone at the drop of a hat.
Paul Felder reminds me of Cowboy in that aspect, and I've heard Cowboy say in interviews before that he doesn't watch. Cowboy has a very elaborate life. He's got a lot of different passions. You know, he's cave diving one day, and he's behind the boat jet skiing, and he loves fighting.
Yeah,
I've heard in an interview before he does no research on his opponents. Half the time, he doesn't even know the opponent's name, and he just goes in and fights them. His coaches suggest, maybe watch some videos on, Alexander Hernandez before you fight him. He's like, no, I'll just fight him. I've heard Cowboy say that. He's like, I don't know. I haven't watched him fight. I only found out who he was 3 days before, the fight was announced. And yeah, I know a bit. I know some opponents that he's beat, but I haven't watched him fight. We're just going to go in there and scrap it out, man.
Cowboy's amazing.
And Cowboy wins. And Cowboy wins fights. Sometimes that could work in your advantage.
That's the thing.
You psych yourself out for a game plan, knowing an opponent's style, and then all of a sudden they do something else that throws a spanner in the works, and then you're focused on a game plan that's not working. I think 100%. Paul Felder fights that opposite way. He just goes in and fights.
100%.
So
I agree.
I don't think any of them really should be in a disadvantage. A fight's a fight.
That's right. Well, just depend. Again, like I said, if there is any sort of disadvantage, it depends on the fighter. There's people that won't take a fight on late notice. For example, like actually, Connor would actually take a fight on late notice.
Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler. Oh, yeah, but okay, so
apparently, did you hear this?
Yes. I've heard this, but you know that what happened was so. From what I heard, pretty much Chandler, some guy was like fucking talking to Chandler on Instagram, and RDA called him out, and Chandler, the fan said why the fan like commented on Chandler's recent Instagram post, which is just like an unrelated post of like him and his family or something, and the fan was like, why are you fucking not fighting RDA? You're a bitch. And he said, and then Chandler replied to it. He's like, I'm not a bitch. I just have other things planned. So,
yeah, okay.
But it's like, fuck that fan.
I know. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's what it is. Someone calls you out, you still respond, go, man, I'd love to, but I'm fucking busy.
Yeah. Well, what What did you hear?
Be the Darren Till. Be the Darren Till.
Be the Darren Till. Like, the thing, man, what could Chandler possibly have planned? That's the thing for me. In my mind, it could be fucking one of those
Tony
guys.
Ferguson,
Gaethje.
We don't know, but at the end of the day, we discussed this on the last podcast with Chandler coming in. I thought that, for Chandler to just come in from another promotion and automatically get a number one contender fight or be the backup for a Khabib fight, we spoke about that on the last one. I thought it was unfair. I think he should get an RDA or a Dan Hooker or something like that, someone that's 5 or 6, and then get same way Askren got Lawler.
Yeah, of course.
You didn't just go. He didn't go straight into fucking Colby or Usman.
Yeah, but Dana actually likes this guy.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's the difference, really. But
yeah, I guess that's how it works in life business. You gotta know someone.
It's against his logic though, because if Michael Chandler's to come in and then just somehow just get through Tony and just prove that like the Bellator crew are legit, or he's legit anyway, get through Tony, run up the ranks, like it doesn't do a service. Like I think you need to market him in the UFC before, dude. How many people, let alone actual hardcore fans, like I'll admit this, I don't watch Bellator. I don't watch Bellator fights. Very rarely. Like I know the roster, but I don't watch it. So for Michael Chandler to just come over, I don't watch it either.
I look up the results. I don't watch the fights.
Like I've watched Michael Chandler fights, but the thing is, like how many people out there don't watch Bellator at all? Millions of UFC people. There's that many people. The UFC is that big that there's so many people into the UFC that don't even know what Bellator is.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know what Bellator is. So for him to just come in and beat Tony, that people are like, who the fuck's this guy? You know what I mean? You need
I was
severe
taught.
marketing.
I was talking to someone from work about it the other day, and they thought it was a country. I was like, "Oh, you follow UFC?" And we're having like this. It was just a normal, casual fan. I was taught. He knew some things. I'm like, "Oh, have you heard of Michael Chandler? Coming over from Bellator." He's like, "Oh no, I haven't heard of him." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, where's that?" I'm like, "Bellator." I'm like, they hold it here. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was a country." You meant like you said he was coming from Bellator, like
Oh
coming
my
from
god!
fucking like Belgium.
Like Belarus.
So yeah, no, you're right. People don't know.
That guy's amazing. That's amazing.
I was saying it in some context. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't know it was another promotion. I thought it was a country." Oh god, that just shows you. You know what I mean?
I know, but that's point proven, I guess. When you mentioned Darren Till before, so Darren Till, fuck, when Mike's playing up a bit here. Darren Till's also out. You were the one to actually break the news to me of the
Via
fight with
text message.
via text message. It's always the worst
Breaking
way to get
news.
news. It's always the
Yeah.
worst. I'm like, ah,
I think I sent
bullshit.
it to you at about 7:30 in the morning as well, so
I
you'd wake
know.
up to it.
Fuck
Just
me.
completely fuck your day.
Ruined my night. Dude, like, okay, so we looked it up, or you looked up. You were saying like it was injury, and then I thought it would have been the lockdown,
Yeah, I
but
was silly to think that it wasn't the lockdown.
no. It isn't the lockdown.
Oh, it was injury.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't injury.
jeez, I got
Yeah,
it right.
you won that one. I cheers for the gin and tonic. Bang, good job.
I felt like an idiot when you turned around and said, "No, it's because of lockdown." I'm like, "Oh, that's right, fucking COVID." But I
That
swear I'd read something saying injury.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But like, I imagine, or what I hope is that they can get special permissions for this lockdown. Otherwise, it's going to be devastating. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see Leon Edwards and Chimaev
So,
fucking
what was the injury?
a knee injury,
Oh, knee injury.
which I hope is not
All
anything.
right.
I hope it's not anything too bad because fucking those knee injuries can be rough.
How did he do that?
Um, so I'm not sure, training or some sort of fucking
Okay.
maybe a case of raw dog beer fell in his
So,
knee.
yeah, it could have been on his knees, fucking, with Latore Gonzalez bent over, fucking scraped his knee on a couple of fucking marbles or something, Rubik's cube
Could you
in a
imagine
kid's bedroom.
just the fact that this is turned into like a really massive apparel brand, massive in terms of the MMA community. Now a beer, he's also doing a watch company. He hasn't called it Raw Dog Watches, but he's done like the Raw Dog logo, and now this is all just like one insult, and now it's turned into like a global brand. Every time
But
Mike Perry would see this in the street, it'd probably kill him.
yeah. No, it's great. It's fantastic. I think it's all in good fun. I don't know how much Perry's genuinely offended or if he's might be working a little bit towards it. I don't know. It is funny to me. It's lighthearted fun.
Yeah. A fight between them at 180. All my dreams come true, man. Like
True,
a fight
yeah.
between them two. Like just
I think it'll happen. I think there's a lot of interest in it. Where their both careers go, I think one day we might be able to see a fight.
I reckon if it's gonna happen,
Even
it's
if
probably gonna
Perry
be...
loses his next fight and Darren Till gets a title shot and they're far ranked between each other, I think there's still so much stock in that fight for Perry to still get it, even if he's not in a top 10 rankings.
Of course. Yeah,
I
and
think there's so much stock in it.
He's moving to 185 too, right? So if he moves to 185, then he comes up. Darren Till can realistically risk his. I don't think he'd be risking it because I think Darren Till would get it done in that fight. But the thing
Oh,
is like,
100%.
but I think
Darren Till will wreck him.
for him to right now with the way middleweight is, for him to do that now is actually not a bad option.
Yeah.
It's not a bad option at all, you know. So
Oh, it's a huge fight.
it has to be after he corners him though. But then, fuck, I'm
Yeah.
so depressed that fight got called off. Who
Yeah.
who stepped in again? I can't even remember. It's terrible.
Oh, I don't know that one. With Mike Perry.
Because Robbie Lawler was out for some injury. Mike Perry fight. Let's go. Oh, Tim Means.
Ah, right. Dirty Bird. Dirty Bird.
You should be able to get the job done.
Mike Perry, I reckon, wins that fight.
Yeah, pretty easily.
Against Dirty Bird. Yeah, I think that could be a round 1 KO.
Yeah.
Dirty Bird's good.
He's good, but
he's good and he's very lanky and he's got range and stuff. But Mike Perry just brawls. Mike
Perry was, a legit force at one point in terms of like, like
he came into the UFC, I believe, 10-0.
Yeah.
I think he came into the UFC 10-0. Now he's, 14-6, but
as long as
he came into the UFC 10-0, and I think 9 of them were round 1 KOs. He was on a flare.
As long as he gets a lot of the stuff behind him, I think he should be pretty good. And then, like I said, I think he's going to be around for a while, just as one of those fighters. As long as he can stay in the win-lose, something near there.
They'll keep him for sure.
I think he'd have to be on a fucking 6-fight losing streak to actually,
I agree.
Be cut of whatnot. But, what else is there to fucking talk? Oh, we got another fight cancelled as well. Amanda Nunes versus another Brisbane bad guy. Megan Anderson.
I didn't realize that one was cancelled.
Yeah, dude. So that got cancelled today. Undisclosed reason again. Some sort of medical reason on Nunes's part.
On Nunes's part.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She just doesn't want any of that Aussie smoke. That's what she doesn't want.
Personal reason.
Oh my god! Do you remember when Megan Anderson fought that shit? She fought someone and she.
Do you think fucking Nina could have fucking played a part in it?
What do you mean?
Nina could have got on the bloody Chardonnays and pulled out the big toolbox under the bed and fucking done some damage to fucking Nunes.
Oh god.
I don't know. When you say personal reasons, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Like, that's the thing with that. No one even figured out what it was with Whittaker that time. Same sort of thing. But
I think it was something like depression or mental health with Whittaker, because he's a big advocate for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Could have been.
But
I don't know. Could have been a lesbian problem.
But that fight's off, which is pretty.
That sucks.
It's pretty crazy.
We already knew who was going to win anyway. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. But the thing is that now that card is pretty much toast. Like, there's not many good fights on that card. Like, there's great fights, obviously, but there's not like the big seller of that. That's a pay-per-view card. Right?
Don't we have Garbrandt and Figueiredo?
That's off too.
What?
Yeah. That's off too. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
UFC 255.
Dude.
That's what I mean. Like, it's like.
Yeah, well, let's just cut this one short, Alex. We got nothing left to talk about. I've just hit a wall, mate. I'm fucking gutted. I've only legit just finding out about this now.
Yeah, so
you've just broken those two to me.
I'm sorry, bro. Literally destroyed the December card. I'll find the actual. Hold up. Let's see this.
Fuck's sake. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, so it was okay. Oh, no, yeah, sorry. So yeah, that's right. Of course, I should have known that. Garbrandt was pulled. Alex Perez stepped in, who's a good fighter, but he's not Cody Garbrandt. So the excitement of that kind of goes away. And then Shevchenko and Maya.
Yeah, Jennifer Meyer. So that's the main and the co-main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like there's no Garbrandt on that fight, which is I think that would have made
Garbrandt was bringing a lot of stock to that fight.
Oh, ridiculous amount of stock to that fight.
Being a former champion. Garbrandt is so fun to watch too.
And Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno.
That's the guy that just recently submitted Kai Kara France.
Yeah. And Brandon Moreno, who's a good sort of Mexican dude,
yeah,
real pale.
That'll be a good fight.
And then Shogun versus Paul Craig, which is just
gosh.
For a pay-per-view main card, it's just so fucking,
I think I'll go to the pub. I think I'll go to the pub for that one and watch it for free.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Wait, let me check because I don't think the Nunes fight was meant to be. I don't know if that was on the same card, was it? Surely it wasn't. That would have been 3 title fights. No, that was 2-5-6. So they've literally lost. They've literally pretty much lost 2 major fights in a way. Like, sure, Figueiredo's fighting, but people were watching for Garbrandt as well.
Yeah.
Champ, you know what I mean? That was.
Yeah, of course. And his last fight was phenomenal. It was almost like the old Cody was back.
I know. Well, that was. Remember when Sean O'Malley had to compare those knockouts?
Yeah.
He's like, here's my knockout. So I faked the uppercut, come through with the straight. And he's like, here's Cody's knockout.
Fucking gotta love Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, brother. Well,
them two have got to fight.
We're pretty much out of things to talk about, bro.
What else do we have to cover?
Sorry for ruining your night.
No, you're right.
Dustin versus McGregor's done.
Yeah, wow, that's cool. And that's next year?
That's, January 23rd. January 23rd, which would be a good fight there. Is that
Australia Day? What's Australia Day? The 24th?
26.
Oh, I was going to say, because 23rd in America would be 24th. That we could be watching that on Australia Day.
Yeah, it's called Invasion Day, bro. No.
Yeah, Invasion Day. That'll be the only Australia Day you'll ever see me wearing an Irish flag.
All right, Peter Walsh, the man.
Jacob Proper 12.
Always good to have you, the Brisbane bad guy. Chael Sonnen, please don't come for our intellectual property. You're the man. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with us, Peter Walsh. Right now, I'm going to jump to my own little thing where I talk about an article just on the top five most likely to be newly crowned champions in 2021. A lot of stuff in there that'll be coming on fightdayfanboy.com as well. But
so in other words, I'll take it from here, Peter. You can bounce.
I'll take it from here, Peter. You can bounce. Alrighty, always a good time with the Brisbane bad guy, Peter Walsh. Chael Sonnen's going to be coming for his intellectual property very soon, I'd imagine. So I just wanted to do something a bit different. I know, like right now, doing these podcasts on a weekly basis, just sort of, you can sort of catch my opinion here and hear my thoughts on the upcoming, just the landscape of MMA in general and the upcoming fights. But I am debuting fightdayfanboy.com, which is a website where I wanted to actually host a lot of my writing projects, so you can see a few of my other opinions on there, and just another way to digest some of the content as well. For the first article back with fightdayfanboy.com, I wanted to do a thing, just a very simple concept. That concept is 5 newly crowned UFC champions 5 people that are most likely to be crowned UFC champion in 2021. Now, just as a disclaimer, this list can include current champions who are going up to fight in a new division. It can include people or contenders that are fighting in vacant divisions. And it can just include some real decent contenders that have had a massive 2020. So mainly between the start of 2021 and the end of 2021, who I think is the 5 most likely people to become UFC champion or a new UFC champion. So I've got a list of 5 guys, the 5 most likely. I'll start at number 5, pretty much detailing the 5th, the person who I think is the 5th most likely to come in as a UFC champion in 2021. And that is Robert Whittaker. So I believe the Australian native Robert Whittaker can do it in the middleweight division again, but the path would have to present itself, and the opportunity would have to present itself for this to happen. I believe it's quite a clear path. I mean, it's already sort of melding now in the first place, and so you see the first action of that coming up with Israel Adesanya moving up to light heavyweight to fight Jan Blachowicz, which is something which is, from what I've heard, is deep in discussion already, and it's almost at the point of being finalized. So number 5 would be Robert Whittaker. Reason is genuinely we tend to see this. A lot of people, a lot of fighters who move up, there's always a bit of a hoo-ha with Dana White, sort of wanted to push the division forward, especially with middleweight. There's a shitload of stacked contenders. If Israel were to move up, which I believe he will, I believe it won't be long before we see an interim title and then an undisputed title champion crowned in middleweight. And for Israel Adesanya, I don't believe there's much reason for him to come back down, given the fact that he's chasing that unicorn up at heavyweight named John Jones. So 5th on my list is Robert Whittaker, and I believe for good reason. Again, this all has to do with sort of like the landscape, the most likelihood, the probability, everything going into that as well. Number 4 on my list is Khamzat Chimaev. Pronounce that right. Khamzat Chimaev, who is a ridiculous up-and-coming contender. He's been pretty much insane, looking dominant as hell, basically fighting 2 unranked people. So it's a bit of a step up for him. But for him to do this, he would have to get through Leon Edwards, who has been booked, which that fight is sort of somewhat in jeopardy as well. But he would have to basically climb through those ranks, beat Leon, come through that whole situation, and come out on top. And then I'd say, judging from maybe one fight after that, he's in title contention. But just because he is such a wild card, such a wild factor, and he has looked so particularly dominant, I believe Khamzat deserves a place in this list. Alrighty, back to it. So 3rd on my list is actually a pretty unique one, pretty unusual. I don't know if a lot of people are going to agree with me on this one here. A bit of a typical pick, but I think if the cards play right and the UFC goes in a direction of dollar signs over rankings, this could definitely happen. So 3rd on my list, without further ado, is the notorious Conor McGregor coming back at lightweight. I believe it is with the vacancy of Khabib, provided that Khabib stays retired. Obviously, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, we've all heard the news. That's done now, so it's finalised, set in stone. With Khabib going, Dana needs to sort of put a new sort of light on the lightweight division. Granted, Poirier and McGregor is not the fight that is really ethical to make for the UFC, for the vacant UFC lightweight championship. But in terms of a business sense, for Dana to have Conor McGregor holding that belt up, or Poirier for that reason, but I think I do pick Conor in that fight, just judged on their last couple of performances, and I believe every time Conor comes back, he shows us he's a bit more he's more special than what he is. So if Connor's got his game hat on, he is the favorite on the bookies markets. I believe he's going to be able to do that one. And if it is the case where they want to get that real nice business profile of Conor McGregor holding up the belts, or he doesn't have two belts, he will always be holding like this, but holding up that belt, it's definitely a possibility if the UFC takes the money route, which is what all businesses should be vying to take, of course, without ruining the legitimacy of the rankings. But yeah, third on my list is Conor McGregor. All right, so we're down to the final two. Again, this list is very logic based, and it's presented in a way where, in terms of like what I think is the logical path to happen, in terms of like what the UFC wants to do with their business in 2021. Again, number two is one of the more obvious picks. It actually takes it's less inclined to it's less provoked by circumstance and is more sort of just a genuine, more possible. You'll see when you got these lists of a reality in 2021. And second on my list is, okay, so from the time I've been able to give that intro, he probably would have already knocked someone out. That's how crazy he is with his last couple of fights. So Francis the Predator Ngannou is number two on my list, and for very good reason. He's got a fight lined up with Stipe in March. It's very likely he gets that done. Now, I don't believe, for me, in my personal opinion, I believe there is a good chance that Stipe does sort of do a repeat of what happened, but most people are saying that Francis has changed, and that's fair enough. But in terms of the most logical decision, Francis Ngannou is way more of a likely contender than, say, a Conor McGregor or a Hamzat or a Robert Whittaker, where there's still questions and still business moves to be made for those routes to the title to be, more concrete. Whereas Francis Ngannou, if he gets this done against Stipe, and the bookies have him doing that, and a lot of people, a lot of pros have picked him as well, then he will be a champion come March. And it's a likelihood if one of those shots land and they land in, clean, brutal fashion. I couldn't even bear the thought of getting hit by that monster. Anyway, number one on the list. We'll go real simple. Number one on the list is... I'm just going to sound shit. Israel Adesanya. So... no surprises there, right? Israel Adesanya moves up to take on Jan. Again, a tough fight for him. But when that is finalised, and when I do believe that will be finalised, I could very well see the likelihood of Israel, just because of the kind of special athlete that he is, having more of an edge in that fight with Jan than Francis would have with Stipe. So that's my justification for the 1 and 2 there. But for the most part, I do believe Israel's going to move up to light heavyweight and get that done, and that's going to also solidify the number 5 pick. But, if Israel can do that, and it seems like he's definitely moving that way, chasing that, like I said, unicorn in John Jones, it should get done, and that is why Israel Adesanya is my number 1 pick to win a UFC title in 2021. So with this article in general, obviously I've just given you a bit of a breakdown. I'm going to actually release a full article on my website, basically just detailing a few of the other reasons as to why I would believe these guys are the 5 most viable contenders. But fun article, just busted it out in about an hour. So if you guys can check that out, obviously I'm trying to get as much practice with this as possible. In the audio sort of sphere, but I'd love for you guys to check out my writing and just tell me what you think. If you can leave a comment or do whatever you can, give it a like, or just inbox me directly and tell me your thoughts on it. Because as a writer trying to improve, going through school now, it's really valuable. Any sort of feedback is really valuable, you know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. That has been another Fight Day Fanboy in the books. I hope you enjoyed my little breakdown here, and I hope you enjoy what we got to with the Brisbane bad guy, Peter Walsh. Chael, don't come for us. Please don't sue us. Yeah, thanks, guys. If you can like, subscribe, do whatever you can to help us, you know, get onto the charts and just, you know, reach more people. That's what it's all about. Get in the MMA community and just, yeah, get this show rolling. Thank you so much for your continued support, guys. We really appreciate it. It's massive for us. Just sort of, whether it's just me and Peter doing our little regular shtick or it's just this, me talking to you guys, it's all a massive help just to have people listening and just, you know, digesting it all. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back with more content next Tuesday. So I hope you enjoy that one. Oh, next Wednesday, sorry. So I hope you guys enjoy that one. Generally, the regular time is going to be 4:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And for the Apple podcast section, generally we sort of release those a couple hours earlier. But for the video content, we do that on YouTube roughly around 4:45, 5 every Wednesday. So, yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Peace.